Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's a Monday. Back to work. I'm excited to have another week. And then, you know what's happening 1 week from today?
What's that?
Halloween. 1 week. I cannot believe it. 1 week. Coming up here in a bit, we're going to be talking to Jason Dorsey and Adam Rogers. Going to be talking about satisfaction at work. So if you want to get a little more satisfaction, maybe you should stick around. Coming up right now, we got a story like this. Snails. They produce a colorless, sticky discharge that forms a protective carpet under them as they travel along. And it is so effective that snails can crawl along the edge of a razor without cutting themselves.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Did you know that time has a way of passing some people by? Anthropologists say there are at least 21,000 towns and villages around the world where there are people who live exactly as they did 100 years ago. So not everybody has smartphones, is what I'm saying. Coming up in a bit, we've got some special stuff. We'll tell you about that on the way.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. You know what today is?
What is today, John?
I forgot how I say that. I thought you'd never ask. It is Monday, October the 24th. Today is Food Day. See, I had that on my mind. And
Every day is Food Day.
Couldn't think of nothing else. I'm going to celebrate that one. Today is also Lung Health Day. And for those of you that smoke, maybe you should consider taking the day off. You know, I'm not saying you should quit. I'm just saying take the day off. It's Lung Health Day. What the heck? And finally, World Development Information Day is today.
All right.
It's an exciting day.
That is exciting.
It's Food Day. That's why I'm so excited. Hey, one other thing I didn't get to read when I do my, silly little things when I open the show. It says kissing helps to reduce negative energy and lowers the amount of stress hormones in your body. So if you're stressed out, give somebody a smooch. Guess where I'm going in a second? I'm coming to your side of this counter.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. If you ever wonder if the person on the other end of the phone is truly listening to what you're saying, there's a new invention that will solve that problem for you. Have you ever had this issue when you're talking to somebody and you wonder if they're even paying attention?
No, but I know that other people do when they're talking to me because I don't like to talk on the phone.
Yeah, I'm like, hello? You there? Hello? It's a thing called a jerk-o-meter. Oh, that doesn't sound nice. Researchers in Massachusetts at the Institute of Technology, they are developing software for cell phones that would analyze speech patterns and voice tones to rate people on a scale of 0 to 100% according to how engaged they are in a conversation. They say that the...
Don't you think most people can tell that without an app?
Probably.
I mean, you can't tell by someone's tone of their voice whether they're being snide or whether they're being nice or whether they want to talk to you.
Uh-huh.
Some people can't tell. You know what? You probably do need this.
Uh-huh.
Because when you're talking to people on the phone or even in person,
I don't need this.
You can't tell when people are done.
You're like,
you
I want to
have no
go.
idea.
They're standing at the front door with their hand on the knob. It's some sort of sign that they want to leave. They've been doing it for 5 minutes. I walked them to the door and kept talking.
Well, it follows them to their car. They're standing at their car with their hand on
Started
the car.
the car. The windows
in the
rolled
car,
down and
the
backing out.
windows
I'm
rolled down
walking out to the
halfway.
street. See you later. Should do this again sometime. Goodbye, everybody. All right. It's not quite that bad.
Yes, it is too. Yes, it is too. Ask your sister.
No, I'm not going to ask anybody. I don't need this evidence to tell me what I already know. Anyway, the jerkometer is what they call this thing. It could assist telephone sales and marketing efforts. It could help prevent arguments when people are in relationships, and it would force couples to be more attentive to each other. So they're saying if you want this thing, find a thing called the jerkometer. I think they should have called it something else. It's a terrible name. I don't like the name. Everything else sounds fine, though. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Baking a cake to say thanks is usually a good idea, right? Mm-hmm. Not always, though. West Hartford police say they charged a 51-year-old woman with assault, reckless endangerment, and tampering with evidence after she allegedly served a marijuana-tainted cake to her real estate agent. Yeah.
A 51-year-old woman?
Yeah. Authorities say a 28-year-old man called 911 shortly after leaving her home saying that he felt sick. He was treated at a local hospital and released. Medics initially thought maybe he was allergic to ginger in the cake. Then they later determined the woman told someone else that she laced it with marijuana. Police have ordered tests on her dessert. That's not a good idea. So he is 28. He's what was he, an insurance agent?
Real estate
agent. 28-year-old. And she is a 51-year-old woman that just bought a house from him, and she was drugging this guy. What do you think was coming next? I need to get out of here. There's something going on.
Wow.
No, seriously, don't get that jerkometer. I don't want to know what's going on. All right, your moment of duh. It's coming up.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. This is sad. A woman dies, but nobody realizes it for 5 years.
Oh.
Yeah. Funerals are kind of a bummer. They're not fun at all. But the passing of a loved one can have a devastating effect on anybody for weeks and months or years. But here's one that's just bizarre. He was so upset about having to arrange a funeral for his mother that had passed away that he simply decided not to. And he left her in her chair for more than 5 years. Wondering why nobody had heard from her in years, relatives finally called police for just a wellness check to say, can you just stop by and check?
They waited 5 years to do a wellness check.
Well, they found her bones in a chair covered in bedding. So she'd been there for 5
Friends and family
years.
waited 5 years to say, there could be something wrong.
Maybe she didn't like to talk on the phone like you don't, Heidi. This is why it's important for you to talk on the phone.
But people see me all the time, and I text all the time.
He might have been texting for her. I doubt it. I doubt it. All right, coming up, we've got your scoop of the day. That is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. What did I just say a little bit ago? I said I have a what? I have a headache.
Oh, that wasn't a little bit. That was a long time ago.
So a long time ago, I said I have a headache. So
you got to be careful. That's a loaded question. I could have said anything.
You could have said a lot of things there. After I said it, I realized I shouldn't have said it. But thank you, by the way, for controlling yourself on that.
You're very welcome.
For those of you who have frequent headaches, here's something you might try. Eat a banana. Yeah. Experts say a sudden craving for chocolate or cheese may actually be the body displaying a desire for sugar, which can signal an impending attack, but snacking on a banana will help keep your blood sugar levels even and will even hold a headache at bay. Dr. Andy Dowson, Director of Headache Services at King's College Hospital of London, is the one that put out the study. So there you go. Next time, instead of reaching for aspirin, reach for a banana.
There you go.
It's kind of a cool idea. Hate to break it to you, caffeine junkies. Coffee might feel like the elixir of life when you're sleep deprived, but research says that eventually the magic fades and you really should just hit the sack. A study presented at the 2016 meeting of Associated Professional Sleep Societies held in Denver. I bet that's one heck of a rocket party.
That's a party.
They found that just 3 nights of bad sleep, caffeine stopped boosting alerts, performance, and mood. The findings further underscored that sleep debt is real. I think I have this. I absolutely think I have this. They say Tracy Doty, research scientist at Walter Reed Army Institute of Research, led the study. She says every night you're not sleeping, you're building up increased sleep debt, and the same amount of caffeine is no longer effective. So you got to keep drinking more caffeine and more caffeine and more caffeine. So pretty soon you're going to be like, doing shots of, what are the things called? The espresso. Yeah, you don't want to get to that point. So they're just saying what you really need is a little more sleep. Hey, another study found more education you receive in life, the larger your signature. Imagine how educated John Hancock was. Dude must have been brilliant. So apparently, as you get smarter, you write bigger. Does that make any sense to you? That doesn't
I
make
don't know.
We should both sign something and see whose signature is bigger. I guess now that we know this, do you have like a large piece of paper, huge cardboard like box from a refrigerator? Okay, maybe we don't need that. A report says iPhone 7 users are hearing a hissing noise coming from the device. I wonder what that is. You think there's like a snake inside of there?
I have no idea. I don't have an iPhone.
I don't either. Our daughter has one, but it's not the 7. However appropriate the metaphor may be, the circus would like you to stop calling the 2016 election a circus. This is no joke. This week, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey circuses have launched a campaign titled "The Circus Wants the Circus Back." The goal is to get rid of the negative association with the presidential election and pushing that off and calling it the circus. And quit referring to these people as clowns. They're saying that that's not nice to the clowns. I think it's funny, and this is real. Ringmaster Jonathan Lee Iverson said in a press release, quote, "Everyone from the media to the public to politicians, even to President Obama himself, has repeatedly called this 2016 presidential election a circus or referred to the candidates as clowns. These comparisons need to stop. We want to hashtag take back the circus to where it belongs, to the real circus, Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus." End quote.
Well, I disagree. I think that the election is more like the circus than the real circus because at least the election still has elephants.
Oh, Heidi. Oh, she's been waiting for months to get that in there.
And you know how I love elephants.
I know you do. There you go. This has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Today we've got a couple of special guests. We've got Jason Dorsey and Adam Rogers. Let me tell you who these guys are. Jason Dorsey wrote his first best-selling book at age 18. He now leads a millennials research and strategy group for clients all around the world. He's been featured as a millennials expert on 60 Minutes and 2020 and the Today Show, the Early Show. You know, you've heard of some of these things, right? He's also been featured in Adweek. He's been featured in New York Times. Let's put it this way. This guy knows a little something about the millennials out there. Again, Jason Dorsey. In addition, as if that wouldn't be enough, we also have Adam Rogers. He is Ultimate Software's Chief Technology Officer, overseeing a company's product strategy, development, and delivery through cloud computing. And these two were working together on a really cool mission to find out how we can keep employees working with us in our companies longer, how to make our employees happier. So let's welcome them to the line right now. We've got Jason and Adam. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us.
Well, we appreciate you being here. Now let's talk about why this weird phenomenon is. Why is it that, you know, we've got people that are maybe struggling to keep some younger employees on board. So what should employers care about as far as the results of this study? What can they be doing to maybe hopefully change this?
Yeah, well, there were two shocking findings. One thing that we found right off the bat was that over half of Americans feel that they're not being treated fairly at work, and also over half of Americans said they couldn't put forth their best effort at work unless they felt satisfied at their job. And so we think there's a real priority now to look at this fairness conversation, also look at work satisfaction as a conversation we have to have within companies.
Very nice. Now, this is something that, you know, speaks directly to millennials, but it's not just millennials that care about this kind of thing, is it?
No, not at all. In fact, you know, this research was done across, it was not focused on millennials at all. It was the entire workforce. And what we found across the board was trust has become a really serious issue in the workforce. And there's a little bit of a different twist on it this time around because it's, in terms of trust, in terms of who an employee needs to trust more than anyone else in the organization, it's not the CEO, it's not the executive team, it's actually the direct manager. In fact, 93% said that they could not be satisfied at work without trust in their direct manager.
So what are some of the biggest factors now that would affect employees with their satisfaction at work? What are some of the things that come into that? I know we just talked about having a manager that they trust or that they like, but what are some of the other things that they found?
Yeah, well, two things really jumped out. One, we were totally not expecting in the national study, and that is that 6 out of 10 American workers said emotional safety at work is something that would get them to quit their job if they don't feel it. So if they don't feel emotionally safe at work, they're going to leave. And that's something that companies are not talking about. And technology. We found in the national study that more than 1 out of 3 American workers would quit their job immediately if the technology that they were forced to use at work was slowing them down or holding them back.
And when you think about that, there are probably a lot of companies, and there's probably a lot of businesses listening right now that have technology that needs to be upgraded, but they just haven't got around to doing that. This may be a really good spark to kind of light the fire under people to say, you know what, maybe it is time to upgrade that old computer.
Yeah, and I say, John, interesting when you talk about the things that they can do. So yes, you're right on the kind of simple things about perks. Interesting, 83% said they would stay with the company longer if they just had more paid vacation time, and they chose this more times than they did performance bonus or 401k, which are things that would put money right in their pocket. But back to your point about technology, 75% also said that if employers would just listen to and address their concerns, they would stay committed and stay longer at your organization. So as you know, there's a lot of great technology out there that help you connect that employee to their managers and to their leaders and to start those conversations.
Now, we've talked about some things that could get people to stay a little longer, but what is it is there like a single factor or a factor that's kind of a big factor that makes employees want to quit right away?
Yeah, well, the number one thing that we found that would get them to quit right away really is the emotional safety. And that's something that people are not talking about. You know, we talk about physical safety at work. Oh, we need metal detectors at the front doors, these kinds of things. But the study didn't find that was what would get them to leave right away. It really was a combination of emotional safety. I need to feel emotionally safe at work. Having technology that is up to speed for the job that you're asking me to do. Asking me as an employee to do something at work and then not giving me the technology to do it is very, very frustrating and would get me to quit or leave. And then also the trust in the direct supervisor, as Adam talked about. When Ultimate Software kicked off this study, they didn't know what we were going to find, and we didn't know. I mean, we're a research center, and so to see that there are so many straightforward challenges that can be solved to drive retention, to drive communication, to drive the performance that we all need. And what's interesting to me is that this is a win-win. These are not necessarily expensive or hard things to do. Employers win, employees win, communities win. It's just knowing to do it. If
there was one key point to take away from this study, guys, what would it be? Is there one major thing that we should all remember from this?
Well, yeah, at the macro level, I would say how employers treat employees in America today is more important than anyone ever realized. And it's critical to not only employee satisfaction, but also employee retention. Jason,
Adam, where can we go to find more? I'm sure there's somebody listening right now that's saying, okay, I've heard about the study. I want to read more because this is interesting stuff.
Yeah, if anyone wants more information, they can get the full results of the study and as well as how-tos, and really simple how-tos that any organization can take advantage of. At ultimatesoftware.com.
And this can be applied very easily to business, but I think this could be applied to other things as well. When you start looking at some of the things that we talked about as far as even just, the things that you need to do to make people feel more appreciated, the things that you need to do to, the technology things. This could be applied in so many different areas, whether it be school, home, politics. Think of all the different places that the same exact information could be applied.
Absolutely. Anywhere there's human beings working together, it applies.
Yeah, or trying to work together, which is more often the case.
I think when it comes down to it, we want to be appreciated and we want our voices to be heard, and I don't think that's anything new, is it?
It's not necessarily new, but I definitely think the effects of not making this a priority are bigger stakes than ever before, and we're all being asked to do more in less time with fewer resources, and so anything we can do that is going to drive trust and communication and teamwork and retention is really important for people to know right now, and that was what was so exciting to uncover in this study.
John, let me just add one other thing, just on a macro level. I think that was really nice to see and interesting that varied out of the results of the study was that I think the conversation for a long time has been about employees and what you need to give them to be more motivated and satisfied at work, and that's just not what we found. What we found was they crave something much more in this, at work. They want to be in an environment where they can trust their managers. They want to work in somewhere where that their concerns are heard and addressed. And more important than anything, what you just hit on, is they want to make sure that the work that they do, the skills that they have, actually contribute to the organization, because they really do like the companies and the organizations they're a part of.
Well, guys, thank you for all your hard work on this. It sounds like a fascinating study. Once again, if I'd like to read this, where can I go to find it?
You can go to ultimatesoftware.com, and what's great when you download the report, which is obviously free, you also get the how-to and the best findings, and I think what a lot of people want is the how-to. Really simple things I can do right away that cost me $0 and drive results, and we put a lot of them in there so people could get that outcome.
What a great way to help. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it a bunch, Jason and Adam.
Thanks for having us.
Again, our guests today have been Jason Dorsey and Adam Rogers. We've been talking about a satisfaction at work study, and the white paper is absolutely free. If you're interested in that, I will give you the website, ultimatesoftware.com. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you ready for Duel? Kyle Dowling on guitar, Brett Gunderson on bass, Sam DeVito on drums, and frontman Duel Shape.
Gotta keep rocking, gotta keep sucking, bringing it down like rain.
Duel's new single just hit iTunes and it's selling fast. Get your copy now.
You're lacking chains and you feel no pain. Supernova gonna get you too.
Their first single, Supernova, is available now for less than $1. Learn more and find a direct link to buy Supernova at facebook.com/DuelRocks.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Lettuce is a member of the sunflower family.
What?
Yeah, apparently it is. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
200 years ago, in every election in the U.S. presidential candidate who came in second in a presidential race automatically became the vice president. So back when we started, whoever came in second place, John Adams came in second, vice president. Thomas Jefferson came in second, vice president.
That's actually a good idea.
They changed that with the 12th Amendment in 1804, by the way. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Some foggy conditions can last for weeks. Yeah, there have been times, especially in Newfoundland, Canada, where they've had the longest fog in the world that lasted for multiple weeks on end. That's crazy. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Stone soup is a real thing. The Italian Riviera, and they have a thing there where it's good soup. It always contains at least one stone from the sea. So there you go.
Okay.
And another fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Wright brothers were inspired by buzzards. They watched buzzards fly before they built their airplane. So there you go. That's fun stuff to know. A couple of fun facts for you right there on a Monday.
John and Heidi.
Legally, we gotta have insurance. That's why getting the very best rate is paramount. I'm Jared Parsons. I founded the first national and virtual insurance agency. Until now, you were limited to the agents in your area. But what if the rates are better somewhere else? At Parsons, we shop around and we get you the best rate. It's that simple. Go to radioinsuranceguy.com. That's radioinsuranceguy.com.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. 'Tis the season for costume parties. We are 1 week away from Halloween, Heidi. 1 week.
Cool.
Cannot believe it.
We haven't been to a costume party for years.
I know, it has. We should do that.
We used to go all out.
Every year. And we would win the costume contest every
all the
single
time.
year. We should find out when they're having their party. We should just go. Don't call them and ask them. Like, go online, creepy troll their Facebook page and find out when it is, and let's just show up.
No.
That would be so much fun. We've got friends that do it all the time. They live in a different state now, and it would be quite a drive for us to do it. But we've done that drive before.
It would be quite a drive.
Anyway, moving back to this. Even people not celebrating Halloween like to dress up and have fun once in a while. So here are some ideas for family-friendly costumes that you could wear to the school or to the office or whatever. So number one says a day off. Assuming the party is on October 31st, use a black letter. Write October 30th or November 1st on a blank shirt, and when people say what you are, say, I'm a day off.
That's lame.
I'm a day off. I got it. Hey, you could be running late. Show up to the office with messy hair and disheveled clothes and maybe your pajamas underneath. And what are you supposed to be? I'm running late. That's what I'm supposed to be. These are not the greatest, are they?
No.
Be the
not
office
really.
gossip. Make up fun stories about coworkers and fasten these to yourself. and put the name of your favorite grocery store tabloid on a hat and hang around the water cooler inviting people to read the latest news.
So lame.
Pink slips. No one ever wants to be served a dreaded pink slip at work. Wear a pink slip over your clothes and chase coworkers around. All of these sound like things that would be a bad idea so far today. Post-it note. Wear a yellow and it says if you're doing a trick-or-treat kind of thing, pass out real Post-it notes. Kids would egg your house, dude. Red tape. Buy red tape and put red tape all over your clothes or cubicle. When asked, say, I'm trying to cut through the red tape. Why don't you just go buy a costume? None of these are good. Thank you for sharing it, by the way, Darren, but none of these are funny. Leftovers. Wrap yourself in aluminum foil. Give yourself an aluminum swan hat. And then when people say, so what you supposed to be? I'm leftovers. And the last thing is, dress in black and fasten snacks to yourself and say you're a vending machine. I apologize for the last 2 minutes of our lives. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you're a business owner or the person in charge of advertising, I have a special offer just for you. We're doing a jingle special this month. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? How would you like to be the name in your industry and have people singing your song? We've worked with hundreds of small businesses to create their own musical image, and we want to help you too. Reach out right now and we'll give you $500 off. Squeeze it into this year's budget and get results for years to come. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com. Take a listen to this story from Scotland. It's about ATMs. And first of all, I got to ask you, Heidi, do you like using the ATM?
Yeah, well, I don't.
They're convenient.
Yeah.
Usually. I don't like that there are a lot of them where they'll charge you to use it, and then the bank will charge you to use it too.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
ridiculous.
Everybody's charging me to use my own money. I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, take a listen to this, though, from Edinburgh, Scotland. The ATMs there are much nicer. Recently, bank customers in Scotland had their money doubled when the cash machine went on the blink. Dozens of people received twice what they were supposed to get. Bank customers found out about this generous cash machine and stood in line for their bonus.
I bet they did.
Some drawing their daily limit so they get twice as much. A spokesperson from the bank said they're unsure how much money could be recovered. Sadly, for bank patrons, the ATM machine has been fixed. Oh, darn it. I just got my ticket to go to Scotland. Can you imagine that? You go and you try to get out 20 and it gives you 40. Try to get out 40, it gives you 80.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, this is great. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about a sore loser. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This story concerns me for the next generation, Heidi.
All right.
Headline. Teenager suing softball coach because he didn't pay enough attention to her.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, this happened in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Suing a volunteer softball coach and the
Wow.
volunteer-run softball organization for, how much do you suppose? $700,000.
Oh, my gosh.
Claiming they incorrectly taught her how to play softball and they demoralized her. She claims that her coach, quote, liked the other players more, end quote, and now her chances for an athletic scholarship could be ruined forever. The organization,
maybe because the other kids weren't threatening to sue it.
The organization named in the lawsuit has said that they think the lawsuit is ridiculous and they will do nothing but hurt a lot of innocent people who volunteer their time to try to help kids. I wonder what this...
Because you know what? I would never, ever volunteer for an organization.
Yeah.
Because if this goes through, if this kid wins...
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Then organizations all across the country, nobody's going to want to volunteer if there's a chance of being sued if you hurt somebody's precious little feelings.
Here's the thing I want to say. I feel very sad for this young lady. I don't want to make light of the fact that, she feels that something bad happened. I don't know what happened. Maybe there's some really egregious activities that were happening that we're not being told about here in the story. But, at face value, from what I'm reading from the story, it just doesn't sound like a really good thing at all for them to be suing.
Beat her with the softball bat.
It doesn't
she does
say
not
that.
have $750,000 coming.
Only $700,000. You were way off.
Crazy.
All right. Coming up, we've got a little trip to Germany. We're going to get to that in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Election day is almost here. No matter which side you're rooting for, you now have a place to get informed and to truly voice your opinion at PoliticalStorm.com. An amazing resource with information from people on both sides of the aisle, all in one place. Watch videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts like mine, and read fun editorials. You can also contribute with your own blog for free. Be a part of the community at PoliticalStorm.com. You have a choice, and now you have a voice, too, at PoliticalStorm.com. That's PoliticalStorm.com. This is kind of a neat thing from Germany. There's no place like home, Heidi. The German post office has a neat little tradition of sending good luck cards to people who move into new homes.
Oh, that's nice.
That is kind of neat. The cards are automatically sent out as a customer relations tactic to welcome Germans to their new address. One man, though, in Ludenberg, didn't find his new home so pleasant. The card read, The post office wishes you a good move. You made it. And now you have earned a rest so you can get used to your new surroundings. The man who received the card was moving from his old house to prison.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he was going to jail, and the card is just automatically sent out. So that was his new forwarding address.
Wow.
He got a card saying, "Welcome to prison." I remember a story, and I know I'm not going to get this right, but I remember a story about somebody that was supposedly how did it go? There was a guy that his wife had passed away, and there was somebody else like up the street that the wife had gone to Florida, and the postcard came to the wrong house, and this guy got a postcard in the mail, and his wife had just passed away, and there was a postcard saying, "Man, it's a lot hotter down here than I thought it was going to be." And I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week. And this guy got this postcard thinking, what the heck is going on? And it wasn't intended for him. It was like the neighbor that his wife had gone to Florida. He was going to go like the next week. So, but there was supposedly a true story. I don't know. Maybe that was made up on the internet. But I remember when I read it, I thought that was interesting. And this one is, too, from Germany. A little welcome to prison card from the post office.
Wow.
Coming up, we do have some good news. That's on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Monday. This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, don't we, Heidi?
Yes, we do.
Do we usually get some good news?
Yeah, usually.
Most of the time? What would you say the average is? 80%? 90%?
Yeah.
50%? I'm just kidding. The way you said that, you kind of make me wonder. Well, this, I think, is good news. This is a neat story. And if you only click on one thing today on our Facebook page, make it this. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And here's the story. A high school volleyball player is being praised for an unforgettable performance, but it was not her volleyball skills that had everybody talking. It was her voice. When a technical problem delayed the playing of the national anthem before a recent match at Holmes High School, San Antonio, Texas, one player jumped into action and offered to sing instead. Marina Garcia, her rendition of the song, was captured on video by one of the coaches and has since gone viral, and a lot of people have seen this. You can check out her impromptu performance on our Facebook page. You can see the video there. And I just thought this was really kind of a neat thing. And there was another story that we had like 2 weeks ago where there was a school and a young man that was playing during the national anthem. There was not a flag at this school, and he took a flag that they had on their bus and held it up. And I think it's stories like this that make me feel really good about the next generation, in comparison to the stories about the young lady that's suing her softball coach,
Right.
So I think that we have some good kids in this next generation, and I hope that they're the kids that, are the kids. What's the right way to say that? Our listeners' kids. There you go. Hope they're the ones who, your kids. I don't know. I was going to say the kids that belong to our listeners, but that doesn't sound right. The kids that are from our listeners' families.
Our listeners' children.
There you go. That's who I hope it is. It's definitely time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. Check out that video if you get a chance. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.